Hi everyone, in this short and straightforward video I will explain how you can apply a nice glowing or outline effect into your instance static mesh components. And I'm specifically talking about instance static meshes because if you used, for example, PCG to create a large open world forest environment, then you're going to have in your instance foliage actor a bunch of instance static mesh components. Or if you use Procedural Foliage Spawner, so PFS, then you're going to have the FoliageInstancedStaticMeshComponent, and under that, of course, you are going to have a bunch of instances, so the particular trees that are placed throughout the map. Now, usually when it comes to outlining, what most people recommend is that you create some kind of outline material like here, which has some color, which have opacity mask, world position offset, something simple. And then you take your static mesh in the open world environment and you're going to search for overlay, so the overlay material here, and then you just apply your glowing effect. And that would mean that the object will be glowing, as you can see, gonna have some outline in there. Now this is great, but this only works on static meshes and it does not work on instance static meshes. Because if you would want to do this, for example, in runtime, meaning that you want to apply a glowing effect with a, let's say, close proximity when you go near to a tree or something, in that case you would do a set overlay material and you would use a mesh, which is going to be a mesh reference as a target, and then you would have the overlay material select your outline material as such. Now this would not work with instanced meshes, because even if you cast out to your foliage or instance static mesh component and you would get static mesh like this, you could not connect the static mesh here because it would say static mesh object reference is not compatible with mesh component object reference. Now also there is another node which says set overlay material, but it's for components and doesn't really show here because you would need to get the component object ref, and that where you need to do set overlay material like this, which is under rendering, and that be the mesh component, so it would directly allow you to connect the cast. But even if you would successfully do that, if you do this way and you, let's say, allow your overlay material to be selected like as such, in runtime it would not overlay, or it would not outline the rocks or any other material that we specifically want it to be. So I have not found a viable way with overlay material. Not to mention that even if you manage to do it somehow in runtime, the cast, the object reference from your cast, is a component, meaning that you would change the whole component and not a single instance. So even if you somehow manage to do the overlay material, you would literally outline 100,000 trees or whatever that might be with the same component, because each component inside have their own so-called instances, and you basically want to change a particular index instance and outline that instead of just randomly taking the whole component and outline that. So this would not work either. Now what you can do to go a workaround and even have it less resource intensive, you could do a simple outline which works in both PCGs and PFS, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you now. Now what we're going to use for it is a simple pair custom data value that will control if the outline on the instance static mesh should appear or not, which you can, by the way, use in runtime. And for that, let me show you. If I open my particular static mesh foliage, which is right here, that has the mesh, which the mesh is used throughout the forest, for example, for rocks or trees, etc. In this case, this SM_or stone. Now this has the material called M_rock. So let's open the material, and the material is right here. This is the material that is used for the rock itself. And let me just actually place one of these stones, okay, into my map. So let me just open this stone and place it right here in the map so we can see it. So this rock has this rock material, and inside there is a per instance custom data node. You can search for it by per instance custom data in the custom right here, not this, the data3 vector, but the normal one. Now what does this do is that have two things. It have an index, the data index, and it also has a default value. Now the default value is basically the value of this custom data, and the index is the index of the data. Now the index, you can imagine it that you can use this particular node for multiple things. So for example, in my case, I use it for an invisible mask, meaning that on the data index 0, if I set the default value to 1, it's visible, but if I set it to 0, it's invisible, and if I do like this, and we go back here into our map, then there is no stone right here. But if I set it to the default value to 1, then the material is right here. So if we apply it and we go back, it's right here. Because this custom data value says that it goes into a vertex interpolator and then it goes into the opacity mask. So with opacity mask, I can hide or show a specific material in runtime. Now this also can be used for color outlining. So for example, I can use the per instance custom data to have a color outline. Now, like I said earlier, the indexing means that you can use multiple things. So for example, data index 0, I use it for invisibility, data index 1, I use it for color outline, or I could do a third one right here, which is, I don't know, could be the sharpness or whatever else you want to control, let's say data index 2. So the index is the different things that you want to use it, and the value is the value itself which you're sending over it. Now how we do it is that we have a Fresnel node. So what you're gonna do is that you're simply going to search for Fresnel, and inside the utility you find the Fresnel node. Now you're going to take the output, you're going to multiply it, so math multiply. So you're going to multiply the Fresnel with a simple constant 3 vector right here. Now you just decide whatever the outglow should be. In this case, let's set it to red or blue or whatever you want to have. And then once you have it, you're going to take the output, you're going to multiply it again, math multiply, and then you're going to take your per instance custom data value, so per instance custom data, and then you're just going to take this and connect it here. Now you could theoretically go and another route and say an if node, math if, and you could say if this is 0 then do this, or if this is 1 do this, or if this is 2 then do this. But in our case, because we just either want to be like it's either 0 or not. If it's 0, then it should be no outline. If it's anything other than 0, then it should be outline. So we can just do the multiply, because if you set it to 1.0, that means you are effectively having this, you're multiplying with 1.0, so it's just going to be, well, whatever this is, or you're going to set it to 0, and whatever times 0 equals 0, so that case is not going to happen anything. So this is going to be your color outline. And what you have to do here is that you take this output node and you just simply connect it to the emissive color of the material itself. So the emissive color is where it has to be. And if you do that emissive color connection, then what you can do is that in runtime, you're going to control this node, and in runtime, you're going to set the default value to 1, meaning that you're going to outline it, or you're going to set it to 0, meaning you're not going to outline it. And let me show you how it works in real time. Let me actually delete the static mesh, because we're going to check it with instance static meshes, like I said. Now, when I start the game, you're going to see that there's going to be a bunch of rocks scattered throughout the forest, small rocks and small sticks also, and I'm going to have this on both the sticks and the rocks, so we're going to see them outglowing. Now if I go to my BP third person character, what you can do, for example, is that you apply a simple foliage swap kind of sphere around your character, set it to 175 or whatever radius you want, to a simple sphere around your character. The sphere, you create an object channel, so let's say in this case is a foliage notification, foliage outline, foliage swap, whatever you want to have this. You take this sphere, you make everything to ignore, and you make it overlap with the special object channel. And if you don't know how to do it, you go to projects, and then you type object channel, and then inside you just create a new object channel like this, set it to block or ignore, whatever, and that will be your special object channel. So the sphere around your BP third person character gonna have overlay with the object channel you just created, and that means that inside the world, the instance actors, and if we scroll down a little bit here, in the instance actors, and just take these out, so these small stones, if I go into the collision settings for the for this, if you set the object type to have the object channel that you created, and then you also have it so the object channel you created right here, it's block. So the object channel here on block, you have it as a object type here on every single, so both here and here also have it on object type, also have it on object block. And if you have that, then when your BP third person character sphere gets into collision with the particular if instance static mesh, you're going to have a on component begin overlap. Maybe I don't even need you to explain this. You can skip this part if you already know how you can interact with the on component begin overlap in your open world environment, but that's basically how you do it. My BP third person character gets into contact with something in the open world that I want to outline, it's going to have a hit. Now if it has a hit, you can cast it out, cast to the component. In this case, if you have PCG, then you would do cast to InstancedStaticMeshComponent, right here, InstancedStaticMeshComponent. If you have PFS, so Procedural Foliage Spawner, then you would cast to FoliageInstancedStaticMeshComponents, so FoliageInstancedStaticMeshComponents. So this is for PFS, this is for PCG, but in my case, I have a child of the FoliageInstancedStaticMeshComponent, which I call swap FoliageInstancedStaticMeshComponent, so I'm casting there. But in your case, this is for PCG, this is for PFS. But either way, the main thing is that you cast it out to the component, meaning that in the open world, if I go to the instance, you can see swap FoliageInstancedStaticMeshComponent or FoliageInstancedStaticMeshComponent, so whatever component you want to cast it out, you cast it to that, and then you're going to take the other comp, so the begin overlap, other comp, you cast it out as an object. Now it's going to return as an object reference from the cast itself, and you're gonna do the set custom data value. It's not working. Set custom data value. Yeah, like this. So you need to take out this context sensitive. So set custom data value is that what you want to have right here. No, actually not this one, but the instance static mesh component. So set custom data value right here, instance static meshes here. This is what you need exactly. So you have to say target is instance static mesh component. And this set custom data value, what it does is in runtime going to set the custom data value to whatever you want to on the data index that you want to for the specific instance index that you desire to do. And to make you understand what this means is that what is the custom data value? The custom data value is right here, default value, which what we said, if it's 1, it's going to be outlined. If it's 0, it's not going to be outlined. Or in my case above here, if it's 0, it's invisible. If it's 1, it's visible. So you can do for many things. Now, in this case, you have to set it to 1 because you want to outline when something happens. The custom data index is what I set here, the data index. So if I want to set the outline, in my case is data index 1. If I want to set the invisibility, in my case is data index 0. So you can use for many different things. So, but if you just have 1, then in your case is going to be definitely the custom data index 0. So just like this 0, and the value is set it to 1. Now the instance index, that's going to be your sweep result. the begin overlap, you take the sweep result, which is basically like a hit result. You break hit result like this, break hit result. And from the break hit result, you're going to take the hit item, and that's going to be an integer, and you connect it to the instance index. So again, the set custom data value going to need a target, which is the FoliageInstancedStaticMeshComponent, or in your case, if it's PCG, the InstancedStaticMeshComponent, so the cast. The return object reference, you connect it to the target for the set custom data value, like this, just connect it like this. The instance index is going to be the hit result or so-called sweep result, break it, get the hit item, and connect it to the instance index. The custom data index is going to be in the material, wherever you declared your data index 1, 0, 2, whatever. And the data value is going to be what you expect here to do something. In my case, I expect this to, if it's 1, I expect it to glow. If it's 0, I expect it to not glow. Understand? So basically, in this case, I set it to 1. Now, good thing to keep in mind, by default, you only get 1 data index per component. So if you use, let's say, an InstancedStaticMeshComponent or FoliageInstancedStaticMeshComponent, you basically get 1 data index by Unreal Engine. So if you have multiple things where you want to use this per instance custom data, then what you need to do is you need to go to your specific FoliageInstancedStaticMeshComponent, and over there, or FoliageInstancedStaticMeshComponent or whatever, and you need to increase the number of allowed values. For that, what you would do is whenever you do a begin play or something on your character, or you start the game, loading the first time, what you would do is there is a node that you would do a set number of custom data floats, and all you would do is you would say, I need at least 2 float points because I want to use it, and I would connect the cast from here, and I would say I need at least 2 data float points, or 3, or I need 4. I think it's safe up to 8. So in your materials, there is an invisibility stuff I'm controlling, is an outline, is a glowing effect, is a, I don't know, world position offset. So you can control many things with it, and you have to set how many data float points you want, unless you're using just 1. If it's just 1, then it's going to work without that. So this means that in real time, whenever I walk over a particular stone in my forest, so as you can see, there are those stones everywhere. When I walk over it, it's going to be outlined in blue, as you can see, like this, outlined in blue, outline blue, outline blue. Now, how you can make this disappear is that you would do an event end overlap, right? So what you would do is you would do a event custom event, not this one, sorry. You would do this event right here. Let me just actually disconnect now these things and show you. So you would do a begin overlap. That's where you actually set the custom data value to 1 on the given index. And whenever you end the overlap with it, you would do similar things. So you would cast it out to your, I don't know, in my case, swap FoliageInstancedStaticMeshComponent. The object would be the other comp. I would have a set custom data value right here. I would break the other body in, actually, yeah, the other body index is going to be directly the instance index. I would get the cast out as a target. I would be like, what do I need here? I need index 1, because that's my index. Yours could be index 0. And I need the custom data value to 0, because if it's 0, it's not outlined. If it's 1, it's outlined. So setting back would be something like this, and that would mean that when I end overlap with the particular object, then it's going to set it back and mark render state dirty. This means that you want to right away show the changes, which is also a good thing to have. And that would mean when I go near to an object, it outlines it, but when I go out, it's not going to outline it. Now, of course, you need to maybe a little bit fine-tune in your case, but that's how you do runtime outlining or glowing effect into a instance static mesh, not a simple static mesh or not an actor, with a simple set custom data, and this is, trust me, going to be the cheapest that you can go in terms of resources, because you're not spawning an actor, you're not spawning a widget, you're not spawning anything. All you do is in your material, you're applying a simple color outline with some multiply Fresnel and the simple vector 3 colors, so nothing special, and you connect it to the emissive color. Now, of course, if your emissive color is already used, because you have the emissive color in your material used for something else, then you need to have some kind of workaround with it to combine your existing emissive color and put this as a overlay on top of it, so the outer section is kind of glows. I'm not really good that much with materials, you have to figure out yourself how to do, but if your emissive color is free, you can just have this one connected, and in real time all you need to do is set the custom data value again of the casted object reference for the component object reference on a particular hit index on your custom data index, so whatever the per instance custom data kind of node index is, and the data value, which is in our case 1 is outlined, 0 is not outlined. But you could control the stronger of the outline, because the custom data value could be even 5, is up to you, then it's going to be super outlined. I don't know, it's you do however you want to do, but that's an official way of taking care of this. I hope I helped someone with this video. I see you at the next one. Ciao.